If you have ever tried to get business funding and been told your credit is not good enough, or your business is too new, or you do not have the right documents, this video is going to show you exactly why that happened and what the actual path to getting funding looks like in 2026. I'm going to walk you through every step of the process, from checking your personal credit profile to building out your business profile to running the funding sequence that gets you approved. I have done this for clients with an 86% success rate, and I'm going to show you exactly how it works. One thing on the timeline before we start, so you know what you are signing up for. Once your profiles are ready, the funding sequence takes about 21 days. The only thing that adds time if your credit needs work first, and that can take up to 45 days on the front end. We will get to all of it. Let me show you the stage 1. Stage 1 is your personal credit profile. And I know that sounds backwards because we're trying to get the business funded, not you. But the banks look at you first, so we look at you first. When a new client comes in, this is what I checked on day 1 in order. The first thing is negative items. I have to see that there are no charge-offs, no collections, no late payments, no bankruptcy on your personal credit report. Negative items are the single most common reason a clean-looking applicant gets denied, which is why I start there. The second thing is your credit score. Ideally, I want to see 750 or higher. The lowest I can really work with is around 680. But the score is the only starting point. It tells you a lot. It doesn't tell you everything. And I always look what is behind it, because two people with the same score can be in completely different shape. The third thing is utilization. That is how much of your available credit you are using. The sweet spot I want to see is 3 to 9%. And notice I didn't say 0, because 0 is not ideal either. The banks want to see some activity on your cards that you are using and paying it. Once you get above 15%, it stands to meaningfully hurt your score and cap how much you can get. And the fourth thing is your open accounts and your credit age. Ideally, I want to see 10 or more open accounts, and the minimum is about 5. For age, ideally 5 years or more. 2 to 3 years is a gray area. Under 2 years, expect denials and low limits. One thing people get wrong here, your credit age is the average age of all your open accounts, not just the oldest one on the report. So one card does not carry if everything else is brand new. That is the checklist for you, the person. Negative items, score, utilization, accounts, and age. Now let me show you what I do when one of those is off, because that is stage 2. Stage 2 is where we optimize. This is just fixing the things from the stage 1 that are off one at a time. Let me take them in the same order. Start with negative items, the charge-offs and collections and late payments. My process works to remove those, and that takes us up to 45 days. I'm not going to promise you any specific item comes off, because nobody honest can promise that. But that is the work and that is the timeline. Next, utilization. If you are sitting above that range, I want to be straight with you. This is the one I cannot do for you. Utilization is the balance on your own credit cards, so it is your money and you are the only one who can pay down. You bring it down into that 3 to 9% range and then we can move. If you do not, the funding gets capped no matter what else we do. Then there is the credit age. If yours is thin, say you are under that 2 years mark, that is fixable. I can add you as an authorized user or add a primary account on your report, which raises your average age. This is a cost to do that, and it takes up to 45 days to show up on your report and move the needle. So it works, it's just not instant. Now you can see where the timeline comes from. If you come to me clean with just a couple of small things to fix, I can get you the funding sequence in about 21 days. But if you come in with negative items or thin credit age, that is up to 45 days to work on the front end before the 21-day sequence even starts. Same destination, longer road. That is why I tell people the timeline upfront. That covers you, the person. Now we move to the business itself, and that is stage 3. Stage 3 is your business profile. This is the part that stops most people because they think good personal credit is enough, and it is not. The business has to be set up too. The first thing I looked at on the business is its debt. Ideally, there are no existing maxed out business credit cards, no existing business loans, no other financial products already sitting on it. Now, I want it to be clear. Existing debt is not an automatic no, but it does lower your limits and it gives you worse terms, so you have to be ready for that. The one real hard stop is a maxed out card you cannot pay. If you cannot pay it off, there is nothing I can do, so that one has to be handled first. Once that is sorted, the business needs a few basics in place. It needs an EIN. That is the business version of a social security number, that number that IRS uses to identify your business. You cannot do this without one. Then the basics: a business email, a business phone number, and a business website that clearly shows what the business does. Not a placeholder, an actual site a bank can look at it and understand what you do. Then your physical address. This one matters more than people expect. If your business has a real office, that has a big impact on the credit limits you can get. If you are running it from a home address, that still works. You can still get funded. It just tends to come in lower. So a home address is not a deal breaker. An office is just an advantage. A couple of things people ask about a lot: your DUNS number and your presence on Google. Both are a nice plus. Neither is required. So if you have them, good. If you not have them, do not let that stop you. Now, bank statements, because this is where it splits depending on what you are going for. If you are going for a business credit cards, statements are technically optional, but they're a big plus, and let me show you why in practice. Sometimes when people apply for a card, the bank comes back and asks for your statements. If we send them nothing, the application gets denied. If we send them statements, they review them, and most of the time we get the approval. So even though they're optional, you want them ready. If you are going for a business loan, a business line of credit, or an MCA, statements are not optional. They're mandatory every time. And for those, the banks are looking at specific things across your last 4 months statement. They want to see consistent deposit, a minimum of $30,000 a month for those 4 months. They want your ending balance to be around 30% of that deposit amount. A little lower than 30% is okay. What is not okay is a negative ending balance. That will kill it. And that is the full business profile: debt cleared, EIN, the basics, the address, statements ready for whatever you are applying for. Now everything is set, and we get to the part everyone came for, the funding sequence. And that is stage 4. Everything I just covered is a lot to self-diagnose on your own. So before the funding sequence, let me give you a way to find out exactly where you stand. I do a free strategy call. On that call, we'll look at where you are right now, your personal and your business profile, and I tell you what it would take you to get from where you are to fund it, and how long it would take. If you want to work together after that, you can. And if you want to know where you stand, that is fine too. You can book it fundedbysur.com/apply. The way it is set up, if your credit is already clean, it routes you to a funding call. And if your credit needs work, it routes you to a credit call. Either way, stay with me, because the funding sequence is where most of this pays off. And there is one piece in here that most people outside this industry never do. We go after business credit cards first, before anything else. And we start at the top with tier 1 banks. There are the big national banks like Chase, American Express, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, PNC, US Bank, Elan Financial. We apply there first for a specific reason. They're the most sensitive to hard inquiries on your report, so you want to hit them while your report is the cleanest, before any inquiries pile up. Then we move to tier 2, the regional banks. Names like Citizens, Truist, Key. They serve specific parts of the country, and sometimes a relationship manager there can bridge a gap a national bank would not. Then tier 3, the local banks, community banks, and credit unions. Those vary city to city and state to state, depending on where your business is. Now, this is the default order, but every client gets their own sequence, not this exact list. If you already have relationship with a bank, that bank moves up your sequence, because an existing relationship gives you a better shot there. So the first thing I do is map every relationship you already have. And then comes the piece that most people outside this industry never do, the part that separates getting approved from getting denied. In the United States, there are 3 major credit bureaus: Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. And different banks pull from different bureaus. Some banks only look at your Experian report, some only look at TransUnion, some pull all 3. It is not random. It is not the same for everyone. So my job is to map which bureau each bank pulls. Then I sequence your application to spread the hard inquiries across all 3 bureaus, instead of stacking 5 hits into one. Because if every bank you apply to pulls the same bureau, that bureau gets harmed, your score there drops, and your later applications start getting denied. Spread them out, and each application sees a cleaner report. That one piece of sequencing is the difference between a stack of approvals and stack of denials. After the cards, if you want to go further, we can go after a business line of credit or a business loan, but we do not chase all three products at once: cars, line, and loan, because the bank sees you reaching out too many products at the same time, and that scares them off. We do it in rounds: round 1, round 2, round 3, and each round is spaced 6 to 9 months apart. So if you want the cards, then a line of credit, then a loan, you are looking at that playing out roughly 12 to 18 months. It is patient on purpose. Patience is what keeps the approvals coming. And that is the whole machine, start to finish. Now let me show you what it looks like on a real person. Alina came to me as a single mom running a catering and event business. And on her personal credit, she had one charge-off from American Express, and her score was sitting at 570. With a 570 and a charge-off, she had almost no shot at a real funding, and she knew it. So we went to work on stage 1 and stage 2. We worked to remove that charge-off, and once it came off, her score jumped 170 points, up to 740. From there, we set up her business profile and ran the sequence. And we got her funded for $112,000 across 4 business credit cards, all at 0%. And what she did with it is the part I love. She put the capital into her events business. She was able to buy more, do more, and turn her events into something people remember. That is what this is for. It was never about the number on a report. It was about the funding, let her go build. And Alina is not a one-off. I had a client named Andrew who came in with 2 charge-offs, one from Bank of America and one from Toyota Motor Credit, and a 563 score. We worked to remove both. His score went up to 218 points to 781. After that, we got him funded for $85,000 at 0% with 2 business credit cards. 2 different people, 2 different starting points, same process in order. So why does any of this matter? Because of what I watch people do before they ever come to me. The biggest problem in this whole industry is that most people do not even know 0% business credit cards exist. That is the first one. Then there are people who know the capital is out there, but they have no idea they can access it or how to apply. And then there are people who try it themselves and get denied or get stuck with tiny limits. And when someone tries it on their own and gets denied, it's almost always their personal credit profile. Some derogatory marks they did not deal with, too many hard inquiries all stacked on one bureau because nobody told them to spread them, or information on the report that is just wrong. Let me give you the specific trap that gets people, the small one that sinks a lot of strong application. On your Experian credit report, there is a field for how much money you make per year. Say that number is sitting at $50,000 from years ago and you never updated it. Then you go put $200,000 on your funding application. The bank pulls your report, sees the lower number, and now it looks like you are lying, so they deny you. Not because you did anything wrong, but because the income on your application did not match the income on your report. And that is the whole thing right there. The people who get denied are not unqualified, they're unprepared. Every single one of those is a setup problem, something that could have been fixed before they ever hit submit. Funding in 2026 is not about luck, and it's not about being some perfect borrower. It's about walking in already set up the right way. Now you know the full process, start to finish. But the step that stops most people before they even get going is that business profile. If your business profile is not set up the right way before you apply, you get declined, no matter how good your personal credit is. So watch this video right here next, because in it I walk through everything your business profiles needs to look like before you go for funding. And it's what makes everything I just show you click into place.